We have Alex Valasidis with us this morning as our lead presenter, and I'll bring Alex in a sec. I just wanted to set maybe some context for what we're trying to do today, and I think a lot of you have been through kind of selling programs and you know, at various stages over your career. We're coming at this very much from the perspective of a startup, early stage, or SME who's trying to sell to a corporate. That's the lens in which we've kind of developed this. And what we've asked Alex to do is to give us some very specific kind of tactics and tips of the trade, if you will, that allow you then to build a kind of a plan to address and get into the corporates. That's kind of what we're getting to today. We will look at it both from, and Alex has a really nice presentation on both the internal, what do you need to do, and then as an external, what do you need to do. So I think what we'll do is we'll do a brief introduction. I'll ask Alex to come in now in a sec. We will take the internal perspective, go for coffee, which will probably be in about an hour's time, come back, do an external perspective, and then leave some time at the end for some good discussion. And we should be done by kind of around 12 o'clock is what we're planning to do. So maybe I'll kick us off, Alex, and ask you just to come in and give us an introduction to yourself and what you're planning to hit us with today.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Connor, for this opportunity, inviting me here to talk about what I know best. And what I know best is sales, and specifically digital sales, and specifically for selling as a startup, and selling as a new business, and selling as a small, medium business in big corporations. That is what I do the last 7 years. And I would like to tell you to introduce myself first. That is, introducing myself is something that I do not advise my salespeople and the team that works for me, but I will explain to you why later in the presentation. However, since I have your attention for the next couple of hours today, so I will take advantage of this opportunity, and I will tell you exactly who I am and why you should listen to me. So I am Alex. I'm half Greek and half German. I do sales all my life. In this sales arena, you are going to find a variety of different people. So you are going to find mainly two categories of salespeople. From the one side, you have those practical sales guys that they came in this industry, not because they liked it, but because they couldn't find another job. So back in the day, 30 years ago, prior to internet and prior to this situation that we live right now, if you opened the newspaper and you went to the department of finding a job, you could find 3 categories of jobs. Let me start from the one that was the less chased and hunted. 10% was everything else that wasn't either accounting or sales. So 10% was everything that you can imagine, 30% was accounting, and all the rest was sales. So there was a big demand on salespeople. There still is a huge demand on salespeople. One of the biggest challenges in my organization is finding salespeople. So many guys went to the sales path. They started selling. Many left, some thrived, and some become very experienced and persons that can add a lot of value in organizations. However, their lack of academic education often borders him and limits them on being able to understand more complex situations. From the other side, you have all these people that they studied business. They studied business administration. They went to college. They make a master's degree, and they ended up to be sales managers. They got involved in sales without having all this practical experience that the first category of guys have. I have both of that. I studied business in Germany, and then I dived into sales, not because I liked sales, but because I was a very introverted person and I saw sales as a challenge for me to develop as a person, to go outside of my comfort zone, dive in and conquer my fears. That was the reason why I started selling. And after some time, I enjoyed that. I'm an old school sales guy. I do digital sales. I have my own sales consultancy company. I'm based in Barcelona, Spain. It's called V Paragon. And since I am on this digital arena over 7 years, I have my own business since 5 years. And I help small, medium businesses and startups go out in the market and sell their products and their services in big businesses.
Fantastic. Alex, thanks for the introduction. Very comprehensive, really enjoyed that. I'm going to do two things. One, I'm going to ask you to give us a summary at a high level of maybe some of the key things that the startup SME scale-up needs to think about when selling to corporates. And while you're talking on that just for a minute or two, and then we'll get into the presentation, I want to ask the audience, our attendees here today, what do you want to hear about today to make sure that we give you value? If I could ask you maybe just to drop some comments into the chat function on some of the key things that you're looking to get out of today, so that Alex and myself can make sure we cover that as we work our way through the presentation. So maybe just a comment, a sentence from you to say, if I got this at the end, that'd be great. If I got a bit of this, if I understood this, it'll help us really make sure this 2 hours work for you. So you do that while Alex is answering this question for us. Alex, the 2 or 3 key things that we need to have in mind as we set out on a sales approach to a large corporate.
Okay, so I would say the first thing that you need to understand is you're never going to be ready enough. So there is never you're going to be perfect. Never is going to be the right moment. So my advice is prepare your solution, the product that you have, set up a time limit, say 1 month, 2 months, we are going to prepare, and then start. 90% of your success is showing up. Not being a sales professional is even better because you are authentic. And when you are authentic, the other person is going to listen to you. The second big piece of advice that I have to give you is define the unique selling point of your product. What is the exact thing where you are different than the others? What is the exact pain that you are going to solve from your customers? So we're going to go on all those things. We're going to analyze all those variety of different topics in this webinar today. But if there are 2 things, what I say is pick up the phone and call them. You are going to be surprised what a success you are going to have.
Yeah, look, I think that's super, Alex. And, from our work with startups around, the selling piece, and for lots of people, there's a fear around actually picking up the phone and getting involved. So actually your point about half of the game is showing up, building a sales pipeline, and really starting to work it hard and really putting yourself out there. And your second one is so right. What makes you different? We had a Ryanair presentation that some of you sat in on. We've got, I think, Explio this afternoon. The question that these guys have, and particularly John Hurley and Ryanair, was so clear with us. He said, if you show up at my door and you're not fixing either one of 2 problems, you're helping me grow revenue or you're helping me cut cost, I'm not interested. Anything else is just noise. And he said, in Ryanair, we're very, very good at cutting cost. So you're probably not going to be able to help me there. So therefore, you've got to come to me and help me grow revenue. And I will buy from you if you can show me that you can grow revenue in the following 4 or 5 ways. He was very, very specific. And it's to your point, Alex, being really, really clear about what it is that you do for the customer that you're talking to is so crucial.
that is crucial, and Connor, that is a big mistake that I face every day. I ask potential prospects, what is your USP? And they cannot give me a clear answer.
Yeah.
That is a problem.
Absolutely. Okay, brilliant, Alex. Great start to the morning. Thank you. We have a question there from Rob that I think we're going to pick up during the morning. And if not, we will come back at the end, Rob. And it's this question that comes up around, I'm a startup and I'm at an early stage. I don't really have, much financial history or standing. How can I convince the corporate to take me seriously? I know Alex picks up some of that as we work through, and then we'll pick it up as we come to the end. And to the rest of you guys, do kind of come in with some comments, because I want to make sure you get something out of this program today. But I've noted that, Rob. I'll pick it up and we'll make sure we get to it before we get to the end. Alex, I'm going to ask you to share screen. Okay. And you jump into the first part of the presentation, which is your kind of, what do we need to do internally to set the world?
Yes. So you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. So fantastic. So that was the introduction. So those are my two websites if you want to investigate a little bit more about me. Let me tell you also that at the end of this presentation, you're going to get a link from me where you can go and book an online one-to-one call with me. Of course, it's unbinding. It's my real deepest pleasure to talk with you guys, to help you out. So I reserve for the next 2 weeks, that means the week that is coming and the week after that, space for Dublin big audience. So please go ahead and book a meeting with me and let's talk. I hope I'm going to offer to you some value today. So I want that you listen to me today, because what I'm going to tell you, it's very wise and very correct. And it's not because I say that, it's because I bring results and my company brings results. So if we bring results, then what I say, it has to be somehow at least correct, okay? So I hope you're gonna find value in what I'm gonna say here today. So we want to explain how to build a sales pipeline for startups and for small, medium enterprises specifically, because if you weren't a startup and if you weren't a small, medium enterprise, things would look probably differently. So my clients are 90% of them are either startups or medium companies. The big guys, they have their internal systems. They are not going to hire an external agency like me. So I work with customers from your niche. Excuse my English, please, if it's not always correct. So in order to understand how we are going to build a sales pipeline, we need first to have an understanding, what I call is the understanding of things, and that is a challenge. That is a challenge that I didn't thought at the beginning that it's going to be one, but by diving in and by trying to find solutions and trying to bring results, I realized that many times, nor my clients, nor my salespeople, or the people that do the lead generation for me understand the things. So the understanding of things is very, very, very important. So I would say detach and observe. And the detached part is more has more to do with your internal the internal view of your organization, because we tend to identify with our organization and we don't see how things are, but we see things from how we would like them to be. So detach and observe, and let's start for internally. So how mature is your organization? So in terms of experience, in terms of in variety of different fields, where are we good? Where can we improve? What is time consuming? And what is our work? What is your work? What is your work? That is something that I ask myself often. Is that my work? I deep dive on certain projects. Is that my work? I'm a lover of digital marketing. I'm an amateur. I'm not an expert. I'm a lover. I deep dive on SEO. Is that my work? No, it's not my work. That is not my work. My work is neither to dive into projects. I have a project manager that is responsible. That is his job. That is not my work. That is not my job. My job is to increase my business. My job is to work on my business, not in my business. That is easy said, but you need to realize that. You need to understand that. Where are we good? So understand where is our organization good? Where our product, where is it good? What pain does it solve? And on that, double down on our strengths and find our true north. Find our true north. That is also something that I face very often. So let me tell you an example. I have a client. The client is a creative agency. Let me read you the definition of what is a creative agency. It is a collaborative group that brings together all of the creative disciplines working on marketing and brand topics. This includes designers, copywriters, and the visual team. This guy is lost. This guy is lost. So we asked him in order to generate leads for him. We told him, we're going to generate for you 30 to 50 leads. We're going to give you this list and we want your feedback. We want you to evaluate from 1, the lowest, until 5, the highest, which prospect that we find, which lead that we find most fits in the market that you want to target. So we had 2 3s, 2 2s, and the rest were 1s. So we were, through his eyes, we didn't find not even 1 5, not even 1 4. Then we asked him, okay, tell us, show us 2 3 5s so that we can take them and start building from that. He couldn't answer. He couldn't find the 5s. So he's lost. He's kind of a little bit lost. He needs to find his true north. How mature is our product and how maturity dictates the targeting audience. So I would say if you are a startup and you have a very big, unique selling point, a very big advantage against the competition, start from that. Once you start, you are going to discover by going more possibilities where your product could grow. However, there is a big danger that lures in the corner, and I will explain to you what that is. So let me first say what I mean by discovering more about your product. We have a client. The client produces gaming accessories. So in order to be more specific, if you are on the gaming accessories market, we speak about 80% is chairs, is gaming chairs. 20% is all the rest, like desks, mouses, and all the rest. But 80% is chairs. So this company discovered by going that there is also another part of the market that shows a lot of interest of gaming chairs without being on the gaming industry. Those were office furnitures. So they created gaming chairs made out of fabric and not made out of PVC leather, and are targeting office furniture companies with big success. A successful expansion and more that brings more maturity and grows the possibilities of the product. But there is a danger here. So the danger is that you start with your USP and then you see opportunities that they take away the attention from your USP and your product. What regards my business, vParagon, it's a sales outsourcing consultancy. And as you know, sales and marketing, they are good friends, they're cousins, and they like each other, and they could easily complement each other. I was tempted to include marketing services in my business. It could be possibly successful. We certainly could add value in certain topics of digital marketing, but I didn't do that. And the reason why I don't do that and I don't go that way is that I'm going to make my message weaker. And I don't want that. I want that when they come to Viparagon, it's sales. That is what it is. So when you have a restaurant, that's a Greek restaurant, or it's a Chinese restaurant, or it's an expensive restaurant, or it's a hamburger restaurant. It cannot be everything together. You cannot be Chinese and sell Mexican inside. It's not the way it goes. So be aware of that. Keep the focus. Keep the focus. The other thing is, do we have the systems and the infrastructure required to handle more? How much more can we handle? I read a book recently. The book is called Company of One from Mr. Paul Jarvis. Paul Jarvis says that in Western societies, we tend to put a goal, an uncapped goal. So we are going to have, our goal is to generate sales of 1 million euros this year. Very nice. What about if we generate sales of 2 million euros this year? Is that good? I don't know. Is it? Are you able to cover this amount of sales, or the weight of this super load of work is going to break it down? So I'm a little bit, there is a point, there is some point of truth there. We need to regard this. However, I'm going to put here on the view this picture of Mr. Richard Branson that says, if someone offers you an amazing opportunity and you are not sure you can do it, say yes, and then learn how to do it later. So we cannot grow if we stay in our comfort zone. So we need to move outside of the comfort zone. What can go wrong? In sales, we have two outcomes. Either you sell or you don't sell. Understand this. So either you sell or you don't sell. Why I say that? Because you may say, okay, we sold these 3 products that we had. Fantastic. We had these 10 clients that said no. Okay. And we have another 40 clients where we are talking. Seriously? Are you talking? How long are you going to talk with them? So these 40 clients, I mean, don't take me wrong on that. I don't say you should not talk and you should not, but all these talks that you have, they should come to an end. They should come in some point to a yes or a no answer. It's better if somebody says no, then you close it and you move on. The client that always postpones, let's talk next month, let's talk in 3 weeks, let's include this guy, let's include that guy. There is no, in sales, there is no fixed rule. So listen to your intuition. But in some point, there needs to come the question, John, are you interested, or should we better close the case? Okay.
Alex, before you move off that slide, I'm going to jump in. I have a question here for you. So you've given some nice advice there, which is around, it's almost like a SWOT analysis of your organization before you go to the big corporates. I have 2 questions really. The first one is, do you have any templates that we might use, or could you point us in the direction? My question, I suppose, is you ask us a number of questions. What's our true north? How mature is our product? Do we have the systems? How do we know that? We don't know what we don't know at this point in time. So how might we assess that? Is that like just using a value proposition template? Is that I don't know. I suppose my question is, how will I know, or what will I use to kind of get the answer to this slide?
Yes, what I recommend, in order so that we don't dive in on a conversation about this, after the webinar, I can share with you a template of bullet points that we can use in order to identify and specify where we stand.
Brilliant, brilliant. That's exactly what we need.
I think that is the best. What is the second question, please?
So Rob had a question for us at the start of it, which was, let's say we've done this analysis and we're a very early stage organization, and maybe you're going to pick it up in a while. But how do I convince an organization that I'm ready for them?
Okay, so if you want if I can tell you what I do, it's how confident are you in your product? Your confidence is what makes the big difference. So if you are confident and you have a crystal clear USP that you can explain within 10 seconds, then you are going to be able to bring this person, to make this person listen to you for the next 2-3 minutes, and potentially bring him on a discussion where you can show him and explain to him exactly how your solution works. So the key is your confidence. How confident do you feel? All the rest, pick up the phone, show up, say hello, be confident, address the gorilla in the room, go direct to the unique selling point. And
yeah, okay. And you know what, just reflecting back on what, again, the Ryanair conversation from last week, and this came up, Rob, in conversation with John Hurley, who's the CTO of Ryanair, is the senior decision maker. And his sense was, I think somebody asked him, would you buy from startups and early stage SMEs? And his answer was pretty much yes, if you can convince me that you will solve the problem. Now, they're unique in how they buy because they, have a flat hierarchy. He is the decision maker. There's no long procurement process to go through. But his answer when asked that question was very much, if you have something and you can convince me that it's good for us, we'll buy from you. End of. Didn't matter if you were a startup or a scale up. So maybe it talks a little bit to that confidence piece. It most certainly talks to that piece around what's the problem that you're solving for somebody like John Hurley. And if there's enough upside for him in that conversation, he's interested. So thanks for that. Okay, Alex, sorry, I keep butting in, sorry.
So let me add an added difficulty here, Connor. Nowadays, before in the past, you showed up and you had this gentleman in front of you. So in order for him to be polite, he would listen to you for 2-3 minutes what you had to say. Now you don't have this luxury because you are calling him and you have 10 seconds only. So let me tell you what is certainly something that you shouldn't do. Be nice and polite and be like like everybody else. He's not going to listen to you because he knows you want to sell him something. Disrupt this, break the pattern, make him listen to you with your confidence. Tell him, John, listen to me. That is very important. I can add value to your organization. Talk to him like that. He's going to listen to you. Okay? Okay, so let's move on. What is our budget? That is also a very, very important thing. It would be, it would make sense not to mention that. So how much money can we spend? Okay. And what is the sales cycle of our solution or product? So you cannot do sales by having zero money. It's not possible. But you can reduce, of course, the cost. But if you are a romantic person that dreams on solutions like, oh, I'm going to hire the salespeople from Ukraine and from Russia, which work on commission-based only. That doesn't exist. Commission-based only sales for startups don't exist. And the reason why they don't exist is commission-based is a double-edged sword, okay? If you have a very strong product, you don't want to sell it through commissions because the guys are going to make a lot of money. If you don't have one, of course you want commission sales, but is the other person going to work only on commissions? So are you Coca-Cola? I guess you are not Coca-Cola. So you are a startup. You are like my company. You are like all my clients. You are not going to find anyone that is going to work on a commission-based only scheme. So you have to pay this guy, or you have to invest money on digital marketing, on Google Ads, on SEO, in order to generate warm and hot leads that I'm going to speak about that later. Again, it's a budget involved. Now, the sales cycle is also important to understand. So you need you have to know what is the length of the sales cycle of an average solution that you are selling to an average client, okay? So are we talking about 3 months? Are we talking about 1 year? So that is very important, because if it is 1 year, then you have to count that you're going to have to invest money every month to see your first sale after 1 year. I am going to explain also the logic of the pipeline and why a sales pipeline cannot bring results tomorrow, so that you are aware of that and you are prepared for that. So what is your budget? What are our goals? So the goals can be a variety of different goals. Are we talking about financial goals? Do we want to enter new markets? Do we want to get experience? So financial goals is clear. On the long run, yes, we have financial goals. We do this business because we want to make money, yes. But in the first year, in the second year, our goals are financial? No, they shouldn't be financial, our goals. So it makes more sense to have a goal. I want to enter new markets. I want to get experience. So I have a client, they sell beauty products very successfully on Amazon. Very nice products, but 0 sales in retail. So we are battling together with him now in order to establish his products on big retail stores in Europe, like Boots, like the Big Green Smile, and all these retail stores. What is the big problem that we have? What the clients say, they say the audience of these products is not correct. Your price is too expensive. I don't like the packaging. All this is bullshit. The real problem is there is no brand awareness for your product. There is no brand awareness. So we need to address this product, how we are going to get more brand awareness. Maybe we should go on a D2C channel. Okay, maybe we start using e-shops to start selling these products through drop shipping. And then starting slow, build brand awareness that is going to lead us to enter these big retail stores. Now, and addressing these big retailers the traditional way, so we have a minimum order quantity, that is our price, I can send you some samples, doesn't bring a lot of results. So we want to address the gorilla in the room now and say, we understand, we don't have brand awareness. I mean, talk about this. That is what they think in the back of their mind, and give them a solution. We know our products are good. We would like to put our products in your store for 1 month. And if after 1 month, you don't see any potential, then we're going to remove them. So getting the experience, it's very important. Finding the right recipe for the product. We need to add a little bit of this. We're going to take a little bit out of that. Through trial and error, you learn. You cannot read that. No one is going to tell you that. And even if you get this information, you cannot weigh this information. You don't know what is really important, what is not so important. So what are our goals? So
if you could go back a sec, because I want to jump in there, because Dave Cox has just sent in a question there, which is around, and it's a really nice way to so his question is thoughts on scaling the pipeline outside of the network and internationally. And I want to use that question to push you just a little bit on how we might set those goals. You know, what's the structure around that? So as I recall from Dave's business, really strong business, you know, has built it up, a lot of networks here in the country, and then thinks, well, how would I expand internationally? How would I reconfigure my business to move out of my core markets, and how would I expand? So your experience from setting some of those goals, some specifics that we might pick up to say, if I did X, Y, and Z, it will allow me to kind of consider how to get into other markets. It will allow me to consider how to widen out my pipeline. So I suppose that's kind of the question, which is a nice way to finish off this slide, I think.
Yes, so international markets, that is our expertise. So that is what we do. We help our clients sell their products in new international markets. So there are a lot of things to consider regarding the expansion on new markets. My first question would be, what is your product? What is the industry that you are selling? And when you talk about international markets, what do you have in your mind? So let me tell you some examples here. So if you sell a software and you are based in Ireland, if you call a software company in Germany, that is not a problem because everybody is going to speak English. If you have truck accessories and you want to start selling in these distributions in Germany, language is going to be a barrier. Okay, so that is one thing to consider. Second thing, every international market has its own flavor. Some are more friendly, some they seem to be less friendly, but have a lot of potential. Depends. So there is no universal answer on that. It depends on the product, depends on the solutions that you solve, depends on many things. I don't know if I could talk more specifically about that on a one-to-one if you want.
Good. Okay.
So I don't know, Connor, did I miss something here?
Yeah, I suppose what I'm trying what I'm trying to get to is giving the guys some very specific kind of guidance around developing the next stage of their plan. Their next step is pitching to Ryanair, to Glanbia, to Microsoft, to the big boys around town, and building that pipeline. And your point there about the financial goals, and I suppose I'm trying to give them some very tangible outcomes that they can say, well, before I meet Ryanair, I need to consider, as you've just said there, if I want to go and sell to Ryanair, and we'll use Dave as the example, like, what is it that I do today, and why would Ryanair be interested? And then I have to kind of tailor that pitch. And then your question is, if I could get that Ryanair business, can I support it? Am I big enough to be able to resource up to deliver against that? So I suppose what we're trying to get to here is that the guys are kind of getting ready to go into a process with 10 to 15 corporates over the next 3 months where they have to pitch their ideas to get to a purchase order by the end of the year. That's the objective we're trying to get to here.
Yes, we are going to talk about that in the next slides, how to prepare this communication strategy that is going to lead us achieve our goals.
Perfect. And just before I let you move on, then Maureen had a question which kind of talks to the financials here, and I'd love your sense on it. And she talks about using resellers at the expense of margin. So, if you bring on a reseller, obviously they have to take a cut of the pie versus going direct. And I suppose her question is, thinking about her financial goals, how does she set out a distribution strategy, understanding the different margins, I guess? I'd love your take on that, Alex.
Yes. What is the name?
Maureen.
Maureen. Okay. So you don't find the biggest friend here of distributors. So not easy. Those people, they don't care about your product. Most of the times they want to have an easy life and sell what is already known. I would be very skeptical on going on the reseller route and path. There is a lot to talk about it.
Yeah, it's probably not one or the other. I mean, there's probably they play a part in a distribution strategy, accepting your point that they potentially don't care as much about the product as you do. Potentially, it's going to cost you more in margin. But on the other side, it does potentially give you route to market fairly quickly.
Yes.
Can I say something?
Please, Maureen, please.
Yeah, the problem is that some of the big corporates have signed into, for example, for benefits and rewards, which is the area I'm selling into. So they're already tied into agencies for those. And for you to reach the person you want to sell to in the corporate, it's a problem. And B, you know, these structures are already in place. And it would take a long time. So I thought that the best way to approach it would be to use the resellers to build awareness and market, and then start pulling it back. In most cases, I've tried to negotiate that once the sales go up to a certain amount, that the percentage comes down.
Yeah.
And just from speaking to a few people that I know who'd be successful entrepreneurs, so to speak, they say, get it out there, get it out, get the numbers, you know, I mean, because it's all about scale. So it's just difficult to know, because you're absolutely right. I have a very mixed view of them.
Yes, my feelings are mixed. So the way you describe it to me, it sounds to me like a one-way path. So you cannot avoid working
No.
with resellers. So if that is the case, so my only, not my only, but my biggest concern is to keep a close eye to the sales and help your business. Because if you expect them to put all the energy, then you are fooling yourself. It's not.
You're right. You're right. That's absolutely imperative.
So it's complex. So
yeah.
Okay.
Good. Thanks, Maureen.
Yeah.
So I continue. So everything that we said here with the goals, always consider the time. So goals is about time, when these goals are going to happen. Okay, so understanding of our product, solution, or service. What are the pain points of our clients and how our product solves them? That's of essence. Okay, so what pain points do you solve in your clients? Why your prospect should decide to purchase your solution or your product? Now, if your solution is complex, how clear is your message? That is a big obstacle, and especially in this new digital world where a lot of solutions come, which they give real value, but they are so complex. How can you attract the attention and make somebody understand within 10 seconds? Attract his attention. Imagine when you place a cold call, you have 10 seconds to attract his attention so that he listens to you for the next 2 to 5 minutes, so that you can invite him on a discovery call that you are going to have, where you are going to be able to explain analytically how amazing your product is. And this simplicity, it does not refer only to the call. When we engage our clients, we construct an email sequence of 3 automated emails that we send to them. Those emails are very simplified, are super simplified emails that they have one call to action inside. Please respond to this email and let me know when we can have a meeting regarding this. Our clients, they come back to us and they say, "Wait, well, that is a very simple email." Yes, because no one is going to read the 3 pages email that you want to send. No one. They're not going to read that. So it's a big challenge. It is. This is the difficulty on my work. I am on this area, and you are going to be on my shoes when you are trying to sell your products. Because you don't want a call center, because that is not sales. That is just somebody that makes phone calls. That is not what we do. We do sales. But from the other side, the senior sales guy is not going to place the cold call required in order to bring the CTO, the sales manager, the marketing director, the technical manager on the table. So that is a very big challenging part. How clear is our message? And what are our unique selling points? I explained that also before a little bit. I have a lot of clients that they come to me when I ask them this question, they tell me, well, we are the cheapest one, or we put the best service behind, or our sales, our team of development is a very good development team. Those are not unique selling points. Everybody's going to claim exactly the same things. So if you cannot find a unique selling point in your business, my advice would be narrow down your business, and then you are going to find a unique selling point. Let me tell you an example. Let's say you sell a CRM solution. There are hundreds of CRM solutions out there, hundreds. What makes you different? It's very hard. But if you specialize and you say, we created a CRM solution specifically for those retailers that are on the food industry, specifically for those guys that they have these specific problems, we are the solution that specifically solves the problems that those guys have. So that is a path and a way to go and construct unique selling points. It's very important. It's very important to clear the message and have laser-focused, unique selling points. So externally, we go to the external part now.
Let's pause there, Alex, because we're going to grab a coffee now in a minute. But before we do that, I just want to kind of check back in with everyone. And, I just want to reflect on what Alex has told us there in that opening bit. And, some of this might seem kind of basic, or some of it might seem, well, we're not really bringing fire down from the mountain here. But actually, in the game of selling, it is about getting the basics right. So, Alex has kind of talked about an organizational piece yourself to figure out, what are your strengths, weaknesses, all of that, and has offered a template, which is great. Clear budget, a very clear set of goals. And then I think most crucially, and having looked at 50 startup plans over the last year alone, this notion of what it is that you do and what the problem you're solving, I just can't tell you enough. And before we put you in front of the corporates, we're going to kind of ask you to do another piece of work with us on that to make sure you're right. I mean, if I reflect back to the one pitch we've had thus far from John at Ryanair, and he said, show up, tell me how much you're going to grow my revenue, tell me you're going to grow revenue, tell me by how much you're going to grow it. And if you come and say you're going to help me grow by 50 grand, I'm not interested because we're too big for you. So it's got to be meaningful. And then tell me exactly how you're going to do it and what makes you different. I can't actually tell you enough about having that clarity of messaging that Alex has just talked about there, how important that is. And being able to distill that down into 10, 15, 30 seconds, whatever it is. We do the following. Here's the problem we solve. Here's the business case for you. Here's what it means to your organization. And here's what it's going to look like. I don't think you can, from Alex, you've been doing this a long time. I don't think you can stress enough that actual clarity of messaging for somebody is just so important.
I can say here that if somebody wants from the audience to play a role play with me, I have here a fictional scenario. Okay, so that is a fictional company. And if you would like to pitch me, and I will pretend to be the gatekeeper, and I will pretend to be the decision maker to make for you, if somebody of you would like to have this role play with me, gladly we can have this role play after in the second session.
Somebody brave, take this on as a challenge now. We'll have a bit of fun after.
If not, it's okay. But get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. Let's have a bit of fun after the break. Okay, if there are no other questions, I'm going to suggest it's just 10 minutes to 11 o'clock. I suggest you grab a coffee. We'll come back at 11 o'clock. We will talk about the external environment. We'll have a discussion on that. And then we will find some time at the end for discussion, role play if somebody's brave enough, and some closing comments. So I'll see you back at 11 o'clock and we'll do external. Thanks, Mill, everybody. Hope you got a chance to grab a cup of tea and stretch the legs there for a minute. So let's crack on with Alex then, if you're good to go, and we'll start to talk about the external environment and what we have to do there. So I'll hand it back to you, Alex.
Yes, thank you very much, Connor. So you can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can.
Yes, okay, thank you. So externally, the external environment. What is understand corporate requirements? What is the culture of the companies that you are targeting? And that goes together with what is the industry, because every industry has a different culture. So I referred to that before. So it's a different thing if you sell software, and it's a different thing if you sell physical products. If you call distributors, for example, those guys are there, they're going to pick up the phone. They like to hear from you. That's their job. They like that. If you call a software company, a big one, to speak with the CTO of a very big software house, that is a challenging part. It's not so easy. So also the people that work in these companies, it's a different kind of people. So we have a client, he has a very complicated debugging solution that helps developers accelerate their work, be more effective. Developers are not the most extrovert people. They are not the best communicators. So you talk to a different sort of people. What is your industry? You need to understand that, and you need to understand the difference on that and the different challenges, the good points of this industry, the difficult parts, and and in general the culture of the company. The culture of the company somehow it spreads out within the organization. So it's good to know in prior with what people you have to deal. What is the size, the structure, and the complexity of the companies that you are targeting? And that is crucial to understand. So you are a startup and you want to target, what kind of companies do you want to target? Do you want to target huge organizations, or you want to target companies that they have maybe 40, 50, 100 employees? There's a big difference. And let me tell you why it's a big difference. Because maybe the decision makers that they take the final decisions and the people that you want to have on the table with you, they vary just because of the reason, the size of the company. So if you call a huge organization, then it's very probably that the CEO is not the proper person to speak to. But if you call a company that has 40 employees and looks healthy, and it's a prospect that you would like to have as a client, maybe you want to speak with the CEO. And it's not that difficult to get the CEO on the telephone and speak with him. Are they government or private businesses? So this is a topic that is, we can go on a very big depth on that. It's very, very, very different. Okay, it's very different. Depends also on the country that you are. You're gonna face on government businesses, other procedures, other limitations. Personally, I don't like to deal with governmental institutions, but depends what your business is. I think you have a more clear picture when you deal with private companies. The geographical differences. Okay, obviously it's a different thing to call to the UK, and it's a different thing to call in the US, and it's a different thing to call to Russia or to Poland or to India to make business. So geographical differences is certainly something that you need to consider. But the most interesting part of understanding corporate requirements are the dynamics in the company. And that is the part that not everybody understands, because it requires human understanding, soft skills, and understanding on the complexity of human relationships. So you certainly know the quote, "No one was ever fired for buying IBM." Okay, so you have your product, your solution, a very good solution, a very good product. Okay, but you are a startup, you are unknown, and you call John in the company, let me say Ryanair, as Connor said before, and you know your solution is better than the IBM solution that those guys have, and you speak there with the decision maker that makes this decision. Is he going to choose your product? I don't know. Because if your product proves to be wrong, everybody's going to blame him. While if he chooses IBM, he's going to say, well, those are the best in the market, the most known in the market. I chose them. So consider that. Consider that. Are you perceived as a risk? Are the benefits real benefits for the decision maker you are engaging? Okay, the client that we have now, it's a very competitive Israeli company that creates a debugging solution. Let me tell you the biggest challenge that we have here. We want to speak with the head of the developing department of companies. And one of the unique selling points that our solution has is that our solution increases the effectiveness of their team so that they don't need to have as many developers in this department as they had. Is that good? Yes, but for whom? Maybe for the financial director, maybe for the CEO or the owner of the company. Is that a benefit for the head of the development department? Maybe not, because he doesn't want to contribute on letting developers from his team to be fired. Maybe he sees the solution as a threat to him, to his position as well. Consider that. Consider that when you are calling. So, does he see the solution that you are offering to him as an extra burden in his shoulder? Well, now I don't want to have this extra thing. No, I would say no, because I don't want that. Okay? You optimize operations, you optimize transparency. Is that a good thing, transparency? Many years ago, when I was in Greece, I was working in a company selling food to restaurants and hotels. I knew another company that had a fantastic product. We talk now about like 30 years before. And this product was a little device that was connecting the waiter on the restaurant with the kitchen directly down. So he put like the order with some numbers in this device, and the cook and the team on the kitchen could receive directly the order. That was an amazing product that increased the effectiveness of the restaurant. It reduced the amount of waiters that they need to have, because every waiter didn't need to go down and up, inside and outside to take the order. An amazing product. This product was the complete failure in Greece. Can you imagine why? Does somebody imagine why? Maybe you, Maureen?
You know, I actually tuned off for about 2 seconds there, but is it because they didn't have a USP sorted? Sorry, I wasn't.
No, okay, so the thing is this, they had an amazing product, but they didn't sell that at all. Although the product was amazing, because no one could see what the real problem was. So let me reveal you the big secret. So the real problem in this device was, in this solution, was that by increasing the transparency, it made it also very transparent to the tax office and the Greek government to control the business of each restaurant. And because Greek restaurants are notorious to not pay tax, that was something that they didn't want in their operation. Although it was, from a scientific point and a business perspective, an amazing technology. That technology failed in the country for that reason. So think a little bit deeper. Think who you are going to encounter. And your solution, is it really a solution for him? Is the person that you are talking to really the proper person to speak to? I prefer to speak to owners. Okay, so I prefer to speak to the owner of a business, because the owner, there are no secrets. There are no secrets, no hidden agendas. The owner wants the good for his business. The sales manager has his own agenda, and that is his career, or some other manager. So I'm not very good in politics. So, but consider those things when you approach to different companies. So, understanding the sales cycle, and here I'm going to be a little bit more concrete on the steps that you need to make in order to start making your first sales steps. So first of all, define your goal, okay? That we talked about that before. Define the goal. What is your goal? My goal often is when the clients that we get, our goal is to generate a discovery call between our client and the decision maker of interest in the organization that we are calling. That is our goal. I ask my salespeople many times, what is our goal? Our goal is to sell no. Our long-term goal is to sell, of course, yes. But our goal now in the operations that we are doing is to set up the discovery call. That is our goal. So what is your goal? And divide the goal. Maybe the first goal is a discovery call. That is for those salespeople. The second goal is for the pre-sales team to make an attractive presentation of the product and send an attractive offer. So define the goal or define the goals. What is the next step to do? Prepare your communication strategy. So the way we are doing that is we first prepare our sales pitch. We prepare the sales pitch. We write on a 1, 2 pages or 3 pages long Word document our sales pitch with all the plus and minuses, with all the benefits of our product, with all the qualification questions that we want to ask the persons of interest. This pitch is being used as a reference. That is very important. You're never going to read this pitch to your client. Prepare the pitch, understand it correctly, and put it by side. And when you are going to communicate with your client, you are going to be natural, and you are not going to read from the script. Because if you read from the script, you are going to sound like a robot and you are not going to sell. Also, this pitch is going to be the reference on creating the email sequence that we create at the beginning, which is a very simplified email sequence that we send, the LinkedIn communication or the social media communication that we also prepare prior of contacting somebody. So prior of contacting, what I do always is I send a connect request to the decision maker that I want to speak to on LinkedIn. I have a very strong LinkedIn account, so I can tell you that 30% of the connect requests that I send, they accept my connect request. And I have, through LinkedIn, a different communication channel if I cannot reach them out by telephone or by email. Let me tell you also that I'm an old school sales guy. I don't believe on emailing. Email is something very nice. It helps. Yes, we use it, but that is 1%. 1% of your success rate. 99% is you calling them. If you don't call and you expect you're going to sell through LinkedIn or through emailing, you understand sales wrong. So create the sales pitch and use it to create additional content that you are going to use in your engagement. And then, of course, engage. I engage first by sending a connect request on LinkedIn, sending the first batch of very simple emails, and then I follow up with a sales call. And on this follow-up that I do, I put a certain amount of times that I am going to engage the decision maker of interest. I'm not going to call this person forever. Every sales activity has a start and has an end. And in sales, we have two outcomes. Either we sell or we don't sell. There is nothing in between. There is not, we are talking with John since the last 7 months. Okay. You are not a salesperson if you are talking with John 7 months. Okay. After some point, some time, John has to decide yes or no. And then we achieve our goal. We achieve our goal, or we don't achieve our goal, and we close it. Okay. And if our goal is to set up a discovery call, the next very important step to make is the follow-up and close the sale. And the follow-up is the step, the easiest step of sales, because you already have a rapport with your prospects. You already created a communication channel. This guy shows interest, and despite all those facts, is the time where everything goes wrong many times. And the reason why it goes wrong is because salespeople many times don't follow up precisely, religiously to close the sale. And it's a pity for me to see sales calls, sales engagements fail at the end because somebody said, call me back next Tuesday at 11, and the salesperson called him a week later. And then, of course, we have the after sales activities. So I always speak about references and testimonials. If somebody can give you a reference, that is going to open the doors to new businesses. So as extras here, I want to go to some points. So how to choose the proper salesperson, it's very important. Hiring is guessing, so you can never know. However, there are some, let's say, red flags that give you information about who is not the proper salesperson. So first red flag is if somebody tells you he's a very good customer support agent. If somebody is very good in customer support, that's a no-go. He's not a good salesperson, period. Because what makes him a very good customer support agent is his wish to serve clients as best as he can. He's the nice guy. In sales, a good salesperson is not the nice guy, because in some point there's going to be a conflict of interest. So our interest is against the client's interest, and we want somebody to be able to stand and sell our product. A customer support mindset is not going to do that. Another thing that many sales managers do wrong, they ask you, what is your experience in, let's say, if you sell something more complex in software in this topic, are you experienced in selling this kind of product that we sell? There might be a little bit of relevance on that. Obviously, somebody that sells software, he has to be computer literate, but he doesn't need to be an expert. So sales is the same. If you sell oranges or you sell rocket technology, it doesn't matter. The sales process is the same. The person that is a good salesperson in selling something very simple, it can be also a very good salesperson in selling more complex solutions. Anyway, the complexity of the solution is going to be explained from you at the discovery call that you are going to have with your client. The importance of timing, understand when to contact your prospect and with what frequency you should contact your prospect. When is the proper time? Not too late, but not too fast either. Okay, so keep that in mind. That is also a cultural thing. certainly. I can tell you some tools that I use. I can tell you also that I created a page on my personal website. It's alexvalasidis.com tools. That's a little bit older, so that is from maybe last year, I think. But I can tell you about the 3-4 tools that I use, and they are very good. So the CRM is the backbone of your business. You need to have a CRM. I personally use Zoho. There are other CRMs that are as good as Zoho or even better, maybe. I can give you my opinion on that if you want on a one-to-one. I use a tool, write that down. That tool is called Lusha. It's LUSHA.io. Or .co, I don't remember exactly, .io or .co, Lusha. Google that. That is a company that helps you find not only the email addresses, but also many times the mobile telephone number of the decision maker that you want to call. It's a very useful tool because many times you get the headquarters office, yes. It's very difficult to pass from the headquarter telephone number to speak to the CTO that you want to speak. They're going to block you 5 gatekeepers in the way. But if you have his mobile telephone number, that is going to be the telephone that you want to have in your arsenal. So regarding this, let me jump to another topic a little bit, and that is GDPR and legitimate interest on B2B calls. So GDPR is a topic, I know. So as far as you are contacting somebody on a B2B basis, on a B2B level, and you are contacting him on his corporate email and his office number, or you find a number on Lusha. Lusha finds numbers that this person, under his consent, put online in some point in the future. And many times our salespeople are being intimidated from those chief executives. Where did you find my telephone number? Our answer is we find it through Lusha because you put it online in some point in the past. So let me put this link here on the chat so that you can go there and read that. And those guys, they know better than I do what regards this sensitive topic. I use as a VoIP system, a system called JustCall.io. There are many VoIP systems out in the market. They have all more or less the same price. If you investigate, you're going to see that more or less all are in the same times. I use JustCall. I find it very good. I guess there are going to be other ones that are going to be same good as this one. And for organizing tasks, I use a tool called Todoist. So let me put you here the links. First of all, I'm going to put lusha.co. Then it's Todoist is the project management tool that I use. It's a very cheap tool. It costs 35 euros per year, I think. It's very simple. I tried many of them. This is the best, in my opinion. I use Zoho as a CRM. And I use JustCall as a VoIP system. So that for your information. The most important factor in your communication, the most important of all, it's your confidence on the call. I sell through my confidence. If you are not confident, you are not going to sell. Be confident. What can go wrong? This guy's going to say, no, I'm not interested. Okay. Anyway, you didn't have him as a client prior of calling him. So let's continue.
Alex, can I just jump in there? Because there's a great question has just popped into the chat function. And I think it talks to kind of the whole area of sales for the startup, the SME. And the question is, as the startup, does the decision maker you are targeting expect the founder to call them, or is it acceptable to outsource these calls? To get more traction, do they want to hear from the person that has the knowledge, the person that is passionate? Or so the question is it okay at this early stage in the process to outsource your sales calls? I think that's a cracking question.
Okay, so first of all, let me ask first part of the question. If the CEO, the head of your company, should call the decision maker of interest directly. My answer is mandatory, no. The first call is going to be from a salesperson. Now, if the salesperson is in-house or outsourced, I mean, I have a sales outsourcing company, so what do you expect me to say? Source that out. But no, the reality is this, depends. So you might have a very competitive salesperson in your team, use him. A sales outsourcing company has a lot of other benefits. All other players in my market, they're going to go and tell you all the benefits that are quite obvious. They're going to tell you, well, you don't have a commitment, you don't pay the social insurance, you have a variety of players. Yes, all that thing it is. I say as my unique selling point is that you should choose us as your sales company because I have another 20 clients and I don't depend on you. And because I don't depend on you, I am going to tell you all the steps that are necessary to bring success to your company. While if you have a sales manager that depends on you, this guy is going to tell you what you want to hear. So that is what I say as my unique selling point.
If I could just clarify that, Alex. So there's only two within the company. There's two co-founders. We're new starts. Currently, all our own money is being invested in the company. And we just trying to find time to make all these calls. There's only so many hours in the day is very difficult. And because obviously we don't have funding or anything else, like we're probably going to have to use a student or something that does a marketing and sales course. We were in contact with Carlo IT and they're going to provide some internship to us. So the problem we have is we know all the knowledge. We're passionate about it. I could talk about my system till the cows come home, but can somebody else sell it as good as me? I don't believe they can, but can I multiply myself? I don't believe I can either. So how do I resolve that?
Okay. Yes. Very, very, very good question.
So as you're considering that, Alex, just consider something, Marie-Therese, and it is that nobody will do it better than you because you have the passion and you have the knowledge and you have the enthusiasm and you have skin in the game to an extraordinary extent. So nobody will do it better than you. And the question, if there's two of you in it, and the question to be considered is what's more important at this point in time than selling? What's keeping you busy all day long? I know, and that's a very facetious kind of way. There's so much going on. But what could be more important right now than putting aside a portion of your day to drive the sales pipeline? Because that's what success, that's what investors, that's what Enterprise Ireland, that's what success looks like. And I know Alex is an outsourced sales guy and comes, but I just wonder, the answer probably lies somewhere in the middle. You probably do have somebody coming in, whether an outsourcer or whether a student, but I don't think you can give it all away. I think it's a fundamental part of your job, and it is what the success of the company is going to come from.
And I think so as well. I absolutely agree with you. It's just, I know you're saying with time, having time, but because we're doing a, innovation exchange with Dublin Bic, we're doing Investor Ready with Dublin Bic, we're doing New Frontiers, where we have an engineering consultancy that we're always trying to get money in to pay for the other element of it. It's just all time, and preparing pitch decks, preparing business plans, everything just takes time.
Well, then maybe the question is around the resources, and should you be doing the Dublin Bic Investor Ready, or should you be doing New Frontiers, or should you be doing those? Or if your product is ready to go into the market, should you reduce all of that kind of advisory stuff, which is all great and it'll come in time. But if you thought that you had a product that's ready to go with an opportunity to sell it now, all of my focus would be on selling. Whether you use an outsource or an insource, I would be scaling back I would be looking at my day and saying the most important thing to me is getting a pitch to Ryanair or getting a pitch to Glanbia and getting that right and really focusing on that. And all of the other stuff is all great, but it'll come in time. Sorry, Alex, I jumped in there.
Oh, thank you, Conor. Yes, very, very, very interesting question, very interesting topic. So no one is going to care as much for your business as you do. No one. Now, consider some things. First of all, do you want to make these calls? Can you make these calls, these initial calls? Okay, if yes, then I would say create the pitch in that way so that it doesn't show that you are doing this work. You are two co-founders. You can say, I am the one responsible for the sales development and the other person is the main decision maker. Doesn't matter. They don't need to know all those details. So if you like to make sales calls and you don't have the budget, you do the sales calls directly. It's going to be a lot of rejection. But the second question is, how many are your potential clients? Are we talking about thousands or are we talking about 50 companies? Okay, now to choose the proper salesperson, it's the salesperson that is going to bring the results, that is confident to make the call, talk to the CTO, probably a more senior person. Okay, not the student, that's not the, I mean, there can be like exceptions, but in generally, I avoid like students. And so make him make the calls, and his knowledge of the product is not really important on the first stage. Quite the contrary, he can use it as an advantage to book the call. So when they ask him, tell me more about this, more about that, the answer is exactly, that's why I'm calling you, because I am not a product expert to book a discovery call between you and
it's the teaser call really initially, and get them on board to go in for the long death call with the founder or whatever.
It's, well, you have to attract the attention. He has to attract the attention, and he has to bring him on the table. On the table, yes, there is going to be, of course, you. Of course, it's going to be you there. Yeah. But the first calls, I mean, it's also a prestige thing, you know. I mean, it's, but depends also on the budget, depends. So if it's a complete startup and you don't have money, make you the calls. You know, and you can pretend you are not the final decision maker. You can pretend, you know, so it's
true.
Yeah. Deal with that. That reality a little bit.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you very much for the questions. Yes, exactly. So understand the target audience. So who? 1 second, please. Corporate sales. Yes. So yes, who is who in the organization, and what is their relationship? What do they really need? That is a good question also. Maybe you're going to find companies where your solution is going to give them an alibi to spend money. What is identify the proper decision makers? I want to make you hear some examples, okay? What I do when we generate leads, so the leads that we generate as a company, the lead generation is something that initially when I started my business, I thought it was something easy. So I found some very nice people in India. I outsourced that operation there, and I can tell you the best one of them was delivering maybe mediocre results. The reason why was that they were not able to understand exactly what we wanted. So that was the biggest handicap. So now lead generation is something that we do in-house, and when we generate leads, we generate a lead company A, and then we found within these companies a variety of different contacts that we categorize. That's why I say we offer high quality lead generation. So there is the company X with the telephone number of the company, of course, the website and all this information, the LinkedIn of the company, and then we find the players within the organization that we want to target. So we find, first of all, we put in position number one, the number one decision maker that we want to speak to. So We want to speak, for example, in the purchase manager, the buyer, right? Yes. Those are the primary roles. But then we built also secondary roles. So what happens if we don't find the buyer, if we don't find the procurement manager? When we find them, then I can start a series to find a variety of roles. Who could be somebody to be addressed? So in that case, maybe other roles related to buying would be relevant. Maybe we could ask the finance manager. I don't know. Is he relevant? Maybe. I would create also a list of third-party roles, like the HR department. The HR department is going to know who is the one, okay? Or let's say if you target, for example, the sales manager, and you cannot find him, find the salespeople within his team. Find 2, 3 of those people. Then maybe if you don't find him, you can contact them and ask them to bring you in connection with the sales manager. And in big organizations, when I target really big organizations, I finally put the final resource connection that I want to connect, and that is the CEO and the head of the company. What do I have to lose? Okay, so even if the decision maker of interest says no, and I believe on my product, I will call the CEO. I know the decision maker of interest is going to get offended, but what do I have to lose? I'm here to win a battle. I'm here to make sales and make money. I don't care if they're going to get offended. I want to bring results. We want to bring results. So ideally, we want to speak with the decision maker of interest initially. If we cannot find him, create a list of third-party roles, of variable roles, of the HR department is always a good choice. And if nothing works, go directly to the head. So I want to give you an example here of the complexity that we face. So let me open a Word document. Often we call what we think is the proper player. This person says, no, go to this guy. This guy gives us to the other guy, and so on and so on. So the meaning, so what do they really need? So the meaning of a pipeline, why sales results cannot be achieved tomorrow. What is a sales pipeline? A sales pipeline is a set of stages that prospects move through as they progress from a new lead to a customer. Once each pipeline stage is completed, the prospect is advanced to the next stage. So a sales pipeline looks like this. You are going to find a lot of different varieties. On sales pipeline. That is how we use the sales pipeline in our organization. We use it like this. There are here 2 main categories that you're going to listen a lot: MQL and SQL. MQL is a marketing qualified lead, and SQL is a sales qualified lead. So in this process here that we have, we start from new. What is a new lead? New lead is the lead that we generated. We searched, we found the companies, we found the decision makers of interest, all the players inside the company, and we put these leads on the CRM. Those are untouched leads that are not contacted, completely new and fresh. And then we start engaging those leads. So that is an MQL. That is an MQL. We send the first marketing email sent, is being sent. Then we come to the next stage, contacted. What is contacted for us? Contacted for us is we picked up the phone and we placed a call to these guys, but we didn't speak with the decision maker of interest. That means we spoke with the secretary, we left a voicemail, no one picked up the phone, we speak to a third-party person in the company. All this is contacted. Established communication means that we had the decision maker on the phone. Even if we called him and he was driving his car and he said, I'm driving my car now, call me tomorrow, that is established communication. And that is the point where an MQL becomes an SQL. An SQL is somebody that shows interest. That is a sales qualified lead. So the next stage is that after we establish communication, that, I mean, here a lot of things can go wrong. He can say, I'm not interested, or we are not active in this area, or whatever. A percentage books a discovery call. A discovery call meeting is being booked, okay? And then the discovery call or the on-site online meeting takes place. And after the online meeting takes place, this normally moves in my system to an opportunity. So after we have our presentation, we move it to an opportunity. We send our proposal and we follow up until we close the sale. Your pipeline doesn't need to be like this. It can look a bit different, but more or less it's going to have the same logic and the same concept behind. Now, I want to add here something. So by seeing the sales pipeline, you understand why, let me go back to the slide, why sales results cannot be achieved tomorrow. So if you are here, then you understand that unless you are selling Tupperware, I don't know, to consumer, and you want every call to be a sales call, that there is a process. So if you're starting your sales activities today, to have some leads on stage number, let's say 5, online on-site meeting takes place, it's going to take you a couple of months to arrive there. Okay, so it takes time to build a pipeline. Once you build a pipeline and you put leads on the funnel, then more and more and more meetings are going to be produced. Have this in your mind when you expect sales tomorrow. Sales don't happen tomorrow. It takes time. So how to build the sales pipeline? Let me go on that. So you have to understand there are 3 categories of leads that you can have. You have hot leads, warm leads, and cold leads. Hot leads and warm leads are being generated from marketing activities, not from sales, guys, not from sales activities. So what is a hot lead? A hot lead is somebody that shows a direct interest in your business. So if somebody sends you an email or calls you and tells you, I saw your website, tell me more about that, that's a hot lead. And you can have a conversion rate, a very high conversion rate, maybe 50%, maybe even more, depending on the industry, okay? Warm leads are leads that, again, are being generated from marketing activities. That means from Google Ads, from paid ads, SEO, social media marketing, LinkedIn, influencer, and so on, and so on, and so on. And they don't direct point at you, but they point at something where you are active. For example, somebody downloads a white paper regarding the solution that you are offering. Not your company name is not there. But if that is the case, then you know that in this organization, there is interest for that solution where I can offer an alternative. There are some tools out in the market. One that I know well, it's the company Lead Feeder. I think it's that's the website. There are many other companies like that. They can track the visitors of your website. So you can see, today they visited me from this company. So let me try to call them and see if I can help further. I'm a little bit skeptical on all those things, but I guess for certain businesses, they are going to add value. So you generate hot and warm leads through marketing activities, but there is something here that is very, very important. And that is the maturity of the lead. What does the maturity of the lead mean? If you do Google Ads, you put basically a banner online that sparks and triggers clicks of people getting to your website. That can add value, but those are not the best leads because they came from a compulsive, let's say, reaction many times, or from a not mature interest in your company, okay? So he goes online, he sees that, he clicks there, and he lands on your website, he books a call with you, fine. The best would be to get leads that they came to you, not because they saw a banner of you, but because they make an investigation online, they read an article of you, and they came to you through this path of communication. Those are the best potential leads that you can get. And cold leads are the leads that we generate as a sales consultancy, are all those companies that we consider they could be a fit for our client or for us or for our company, and we address them directly. So the conversion rate, if I can talk like in numbers, very generic, of course, hot leads are 50% and more, depending on the industry, of course. Warm leads count at 10%, and cold leads count with 1%. Okay, so everything of those paths to generate leads has a cost. So you cannot escape the cost. You cannot see, I'm going to go that way, it's going to cost me less, it's going to, I mean, here on cold leads, you're going to place 100 calls to bring one guy on the telephone. And once you have this one guy, you're going to see that every 10 guys, one becomes a customer. So my thoughts on that are experiment with all these things and find what works best for you. I think a combination of all three is going to bring leads from a variety of sources where the one path or the other concept probably doesn't bring the clients that probably you would like to have. Yes, that's all. So we can go to the Q&A session. I don't know if somebody wants to play the role play with me about the pretending to be the gatekeeper and talking to the decision maker of interest. I'm open for that if you like. It's going to be fun if somebody of you likes so. Let's do it. If not, let's go on Q&A.
We've nobody brave enough, Alex. Let's
don't challenge us, Conor. Don't challenge us.
Let's throw it open to. So we've about 7 or 8 minutes left. Let's throw it open to questions, comments. Anyone jump on. Let's use our time for a couple of minutes to pick Alex's brain before we leave him go. Maureen, go ahead.
So I'm trying to target HR in big corporates, okay? And I'm finding particularly at the moment, there's this, like it's so long-winded, but you get a lot of people saying, you know, well, there's nobody here at the moment and they're not, you can't get numbers, you can't get beyond the receptionist in an awful lot of cases. And I'm trying to figure out, you mentioned about outsourcing sales. And is that effective in that department? I mean, even though in the short term it would obviously cut into margin, you know, everything has time, as you say. You know, you're in the moment. You need to move things, but spending your time, you know, listening to music and going around in circles and trying to get through to, as you say, decision maker in HR is practically impossible.
Okay, Maureen, I have a question for you here. You want to sell to HR, or you want to call HR to find information on whom to speak in the company?
No, I'm selling into HR, so it's employee benefits.
Okay, so I would say, the way you do it now is you call to the corporate telephone and you tell them, I would like to speak with the HR department, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah. That's the wrong way to do it.
Oh, is it? Okay, good. Yes.
Okay, so you have to search on LinkedIn. You have to have LinkedIn and have Sales Navigator. That's a must. And you should go to the companies that you are searching and find who is on HR, the name of the person. If you use also Lusha, you might be able to identify the mobile telephone number of the person. So find the telephone numbers of the persons first, find the number on their office or their mobile telephone number, and then I can advise you if you want. We can go on this a very interesting topic on how to pass the gatekeeper. Okay, so the advice is break the pattern. Don't talk to the gatekeeper as everybody else does. Don't give information to the gatekeeper. The less he or she knows, the better. And talk directly to the person that you want to speak.
Yeah. I actually,
Okay.
so I discovered a new ploy. I kind of deliberately, like yesterday, I was contacting one of the big law firms. So I deliberately got through to a solicitor.
Okay.
Much more helpful than going around in circles. You know, because I mean, probably help that I'm a solicitor.
Generic, you don't go, those gatekeepers, their work is exactly to protect the guys in the company for people like us.
Yeah.
I mean, the ladies, they do a very good work. I mean, I admire them. They are very nice, but I do also my work. So if you say, I would like to speak with the HR department, they're going to tell you, okay, send us an email at the info@email address, and they're going to close you. So the info email address goes to the garbage directly.
Well,
So-
normally I would have the name. Normally I would have
Okay.
looked on LinkedIn and I would have the name, or I'd have looked online.
Okay, so if you have the name, then ask for the specific person. And when they ask you, what does this regard? Your answer is, he knows what it regards.
He knows what it regards. Okay.
He knows, yes. Why does he know what it regards? Because you sent him an email 2 days ago. And I mean, when you send an email, people read it, right? And they know what it regards.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
the alibi. I mean, we don't lie, okay? But we can put the reality as it is convenient for us. Okay?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So when this guy comes on the phone, either he's going to be nice or he's going to tell you, you said that I know what it regards and I don't know you. Who are you? So then you're going to tell him, okay, John, relax, because I sent you an email 2 days ago and I assume you received the emails that people send you. When did you send? Then everything changes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a tough cookie, Maureen. It's not easy. Okay.
No.
Yeah. But those are, so be disruptive.
No, I find that they use this, you know, data protection thing as well. I mean, it's extraordinary in some companies. They won't even give you the name of the person, and they definitely won't give you an email address.
Yes, the GDPR thing now, if you want my personal opinion, it goes a little bit too far. I mean, I get the logic and the skepsis, and I, as a person, as a private person, I wouldn't like that they call me 30 times a day to sell me whatever. But business in the world, since ever, happens because one person speaks to another person.
Yeah.
So as long as there is legitimate interest on the B2B level, you have nothing to be worried. I mean, you call his office number, you don't call his home. You call him because he has this position in this job, not because you have anything private to deal with him. So read the link that I shared. And yeah, I'm not a lawyer, but I mean, I think it covers quite well.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks, Maureen. Last question we'll take is from Anna, and we've spent a lot of time talking about the process, but Anna has jumped to the end. Thanks, Anna. And any tips on the best tone or technique for closing the deal? So having worked our way through the pipeline, how do you get to close and ring the bell?
So yes, okay, closing, that is, I mean, we attracted the interest, we showed them the solution or product. We asked him if he's interested. He said, yes, send me a proposal. You sent him the proposal, how to close the deal. So if I can give one tip on how to close the deal, that is put a time limit. Don't let it go forever. There's going to come a point. I mean, I don't want you to be pushy from day one. Okay, tell me what happened. But in some point, there has to be the question. Do you want that we proceed? Yes. Or should I better close it? Listen to my wording. Should I better close it? The worst thing that you can do as a salesperson, the worst thing that a salesperson can do ever is beg.
Yeah. So knowing when to, it is a key point, and we probably don't have time for it now, but knowing when to walk away is as important as knowing when to kind of close and to kind of say, look, I've been putting my, I've been chasing this deal. It just ain't going to happen. Take it out of the pipeline is kind of a key skill also.
The time frame is essential.
Yeah.
There has to be some urgency in
Yes.
in the absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good. Folks, we are just out of time. We have made a recording of this today. We will circulate it and